She walked in like she owned the place, heels clicking on my marble floor hair, done in that perfectly careless wave she always posted about soft glam off-duty legacy. Behind her trailed the Monroes, her fiancé Beckham, his parents Eloan and Winston. Old money walked like it had nothing to prove, and they proved it just by existing. I stood near the side hallway, clipboard in hand. Black blouse, simple flats, hair pulled back. Unremarkable, just another woman on staff. Then, Kayla, my sister, pointed straight at me. "Could you ask that homeless woman to step outside?" she said, not even blinking. The front desk assistant looked between us, confused. I said nothing. I wasn't in uniform, but I didn't need to be. That woman, the one standing in a building she designed, renovated, and quietly built into one of the top venues in New Orleans. That woman was me. But that wasn't the real betrayal. It wasn't that Kayla didn't recognize me in that moment. It was that she did. She knew exactly who I was. And in front of the Monroes, who might soon become her family, she chose not to know me. I didn't speak. I didn't move. I just watched as my sister smiled, turned her back, and led them deeper into my hotel, describing her vision for the perfect rooftop party. A party I was never asked to host. A party she'd already promised. A party I'd been quietly expected to pay for. The second I stepped onto the porch of my parents' house in New Orleans, my chest tightened like it remembered what my head tried to forget. The jasmine was blooming. I could smell crawfish from somewhere down the block. Early June in Louisiana never pretended to be gentle. I hadn't been home in 5 months, not because of work, just because I knew how it would go. Diane, my mother, greeted me at the door with a practiced smile, the kind that never quite reached her eyes. "Sophia, honey." "Look at you, still wearing black," she asked, kissing the air beside my cheek. "You know a little color wouldn't kill you." I gave her a polite nod, already scanning the room. Martin, my father, was at the dinner table halfway through his plate of lasagna, eyes fixed on his food like it might speak if he stared long enough. And then there was Kayla. She was sprawled across the love seat like it was a magazine cover shoot, bare legs, designer dress, carefully unbothered. Her mouth curled into a half smile I knew too well. "Well, well," she said, rising slowly. "New Orleans' favorite mystery woman returns. Did you finally finish color-coding your spreadsheets I didn't bite?" I just nodded and sat down across from her. The table was set with Diane's best china, white porcelain with blue trim. We only ever saw it on holidays, or family interventions. I should have known. Dinner moved like clockwork. Diane commented on the weather. Martin mentioned traffic. Kayla snapped a photo mid-bite, careful to angle the frame away from me. I told myself it was just dinner. Then Kayla stood glass in hand and cleared her throat. "I have something exciting to share." She beamed. "My 33rd is coming up, and it's going to be iconic, like Kardashian iconic." "No one said a word," she went on. "I found the perfect rooftop in the warehouse district. Champagne wall live jazz drone footage, horse-drawn carriage. Think Paris, but hotter and with better lighting." She let the pause linger before the final blow. "Total cost, just under $150,000. I set down my fork, then she pointed at me. "And you, Sophia, get to make it happen." I nearly choked. I reached for my glass, more to steady myself than to drink. Kayla didn't flinch. She just smiled wider, like she'd gifted me something. "Come on, sis," she added. "It's not like you're doing anything real with your money." The room fell quiet. Even the hum of the ceiling fan seemed to pause. I looked at Diane. She tilted her head slightly, voice soft, too soft. "Sweetheart, it really would mean a lot to your sister. You've been so blessed lately. Isn't it time to give back a little?" Martin didn't look up, didn't say a word, just kept chewing. That's when it clicked. This wasn't a request. It wasn't a favor. It was an expectation already decided in their heads before I walked through the door. I wasn't family. I was a funding source. Kayla watched me like she was daring me to make a scene. Her wine glass hovered mid-air untouched. I pushed my chair back slowly. The sound of wood scraping tile broke the stillness. "I need some air," I said. I stepped outside without waiting for permission into the thick New Orleans dusk. The heat pressed close like the house was trying to follow me out. I didn't cry. Not yet. I just stood there, palms flat on the porch railing, trying to steady my breath. Somewhere inside, I could hear Kayla laughing again. She thought she'd won something. She hadn't even begun to understand what she'd taken. I was back in my kitchen by nightfall, still in the same clothes, standing in the same silence. One hand on a glass of wine I hadn't touched. My phone buzzed across the counter. It was a message from Valerie, my operations manager, and lately the only person in my life with an intact emotional radar. Check Kayla's story. Now. I didn't want to. I already knew it wouldn't be good. But I tapped open the app anyway, and there it was. A reel, split screen, left side Kayla in full glam sipping champagne with her event planner. Right side a shaky clip of my car pulling into my own driveway windows down 10-year-old paint job catching the porch light just enough to look dull. The caption, "When your rich sister lives like she's in witness protection." The comments were already stacking up. That house screams anxiety. She drives that. At least she's not pretending to be someone she's not. I stared at the screen so long my jaw locked. The kind of tight that starts behind the teeth and spreads down your neck. There were 1,000 things I could have said, 1,000 receipts I could have posted. But I didn't. I just watched. Not because I was shocked, but because I wasn't. Not really. She thought this was about a birthday party. She had no idea what she'd just started. She didn't knock. Diane, my mother, never made appointments. She breezed in like the office still belonged to her, arms full of something wrapped in foil and a tote bag that didn't quite close. "I thought I'd stop by," she chirped, setting a Tupperware container on my desk. Banana bread. Still no receptionist. You really should make this space more welcoming. I forced a smile. "Hi, Mom." She sat without being asked. Looked around like she was inspecting the life I'd built. "You're working too hard. You always do. Just like your father, except he never understood money. That part you got from me." I stayed quiet. Through the frosted glass, I could feel Valerie's eyes on us waiting for a signal. I didn't give one. Diane reached into her handbag and pulled out an envelope. Cream-colored, thick. She placed it carefully on top of the banana bread. "I brought something for you to look at," she said lightly, like it was a recipe or an old Christmas card. I opened it. Inside, a printed budget breakdown. At the top, in bold, Kayla's 33rd dream event. Halfway down, highlighted in pink, venue contribution Sophia Calder, $150,000 confirmed. My throat dried out. Confirmed, I said, my voice sharper than I intended. By who? Her smile didn't budge. "Sweetheart, let's not make this harder than it needs to be. You know Kayla doesn't have that kind of money. And your father and I, well, we're on a fixed income now. She's your sister." I set the envelope down like it might bite. She humiliated me, publicly. She was being playful. She mocked my home, my life. She's going through a phase. I stared at her. Not the face, not the eyes, just the space between us, like I could see the shape of the expectations floating there. "I'm not asking," she said finally. "I'm showing you the plan. You've always been the responsible one. This is just what's expected." That word again. Expected. Not requested, not discussed, just decided. She stood and smoothed her blouse. "Let me know if you want me to send over the planner's contact. You're going to love her. Very boutique." Then she left perfume hanging in the air like something expensive and unfinished. I didn't touch the bread. I didn't tear the paper. I didn't even blink. I just walked to the window and stood there until the light outside dimmed and the weight of everything I'd once mistaken for love started to settle into something else. I didn't turn the lights on when the sun went down. I just sat in the kitchen, one hand on the stem of my wine glass, the other still resting on my laptop, unmoving. The banana bread was still there, wrapped carefully, like an apology disguised as a favor. I used to think that recipe meant love. Now it felt like a warning label wrapped in sugar. I opened my freezer, slid the container in between a bag of frozen peas and an old bottle of vodka, and closed the door without hesitation. Then I just stood there, the hum of the refrigerator the only sound in the house. A memory came uninvited. I was 10. Thin hospital sheets, fluorescent light, beeping machines. I'd been sick something viral, and my mother never left my side. "You saved me," she whispered one night, brushing hair from my forehead. "You gave me something to live for Sophia." I believed her. Until the next night when I overheard her on the phone with Martin, her voice sharp, angry. "We gave up everything for her. I quit my job. You're working nights like a mule. I don't care what it takes, we are not leaving her in some godforsaken facility." The next morning she kissed my forehead and smiled like nothing had happened. "We gave up so much for you, sweetheart. Just promise you'll never forget that." And I never did. Until now. I was back at my desk the next morning before the cafe across the street turned its lights on. Emails, invoices, floral vendor requests, it all blurred. My hands moved, but my mind didn't. Then, Valerie walked in holding a manila envelope like it might explode. "Courier dropped this off 10 minutes ago," she said, setting it down slowly. "From Kayla's fiancé's assistant, labeled urgent. Guess whose name it's addressed to?" I flipped it over. "Miss Sophia Calder." Beneath that, the gold-embossed logo of Monroe Events Group. Inside was a thick packet, glossy pages, gold-trimmed tabbed sections, a venue contract. Not Somerset. A third-party rooftop downtown, one of those overpriced places known for chandeliers and champagne walls. They'd penciled in a family contact section. "Family Financial Liaison, Sophia Calder. Signature required." I scanned to the fine print. Page 6, Section 4.3. In the event the primary booking party fails to remit full payment within 30 business days, the listed family contact assumes responsibility for all unpaid balances, penalties, and legal collection costs. I read it twice, then laughed. Dry short. She really thought I wouldn't read this. Valerie leaned against the table. "She thought guilt would sign it for you." I didn't answer. My fingers curled slightly around the edges, not to tear it, just to feel it resist. Then I slid the whole packet into my drawer and labeled it in my mind. Evidence. If she put half this effort into managing her own finances, she wouldn't need a backup wallet with my name on it. Saturday mornings at Somerset used to be my quiet rhythm, checking linens, lighting floral deliveries, a private orchestra tuning itself before the day's performance. That morning, the air felt different. Valerie trailed behind me, tablet in hand, eyes narrowed. "Did you approve the white gardenias for next weekend's VIP?" "No," I said. "I haven't touched that calendar yet." She stopped. "Well, someone did. Along with imported candles, a sound permit for live music, and..." She turned the screen toward me. "Client SC3. Kayla's initials." My chest didn't tighten. It didn't have to. I already knew. We headed straight to the booking logs. I bypassed our external system and checked the core calendar. There it was. Somerset Grand Luxe package booked under a third-party agency. Date Kayla's birthday weekend. No call, no message, no acknowledgement. She booked my venue like it was a hotel room, like I was a stranger. Valerie's voice dropped. "She's trying to force your hand. If everything's already in motion, you'll look petty canceling it." I didn't speak. I opened the surveillance archive. Timestamp 8:42 p.m. the night before. And there she was. Kayla. High heels clicking on the marble, arms flailing as she pointed around the ballroom, laughing, directing a planner I didn't recognize. She spun in a full circle, gesturing toward the terrace like it was her private stage. "She's acting like she owns the place," Valerie muttered. I leaned back, arms crossed, gaze fixed on the screen. "She thinks I won't touch her in public." Valerie said nothing. She understood the stillness. Kayla thought this was a game of optics, grace, and passive dominance. But she was on my ground now, and in my house, the rules are different. Don't cancel anything I said. Not yet. It was a Wednesday afternoon, warm and silent. I was working from my home office windows, cracked just enough to let in the scent of gardenia. I'd found a rhythm again, sorting contracts, adjusting floor plans, sipping a second coffee that had gone cold. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Valerie. "You might want to check ballroom camera 3. It's happening." I didn't reply. Just opened the feed. There she was. Kayla. storming across the floor of my ballroom like it owed her something, 5-inch heels arms already mid-rant. This is the color scheme, she snapped, waving at the half-finished centerpiece. This looks like a middle school prom. The decorator froze. The florist flinched as Kayla plucked a rose and flung it to the ground. My followers are going to drag me for this. A staffer passed arms full of linens. Kayla snapped her fingers. You linen girl, that's not the fabric I ordered. Is anyone here literate? The girl gave a soft smile, clearly not a native English speaker, and kept walking. Kayla rolled her eyes. You let amateurs run this place. Then she grabbed a clipboard, scanned it, and slammed it down. It clattered across the marble, echoing. I didn't blink. That's when Valerie stepped into frame. Spine straight, voice cool. This is a private venue under contract. Our staff deserves professional respect. Kayla scoffed. Oh, spare me. Do you even know who I am? Valerie didn't flinch. Do you? The room stilled. Kayla muttered something about lawyers and being ungrateful, but I'd stopped listening. I had all I needed. I rewound the footage, played it again, then again. Every word, every gesture recorded. I dragged the video into a folder already waiting on my desktop. Client Policy Section 3.2, Grounds for Termination. She thought she was performing, but she handed me everything I needed, without even realizing it. That night, I didn't go out, didn't celebrate. I just sat at my kitchen table, lights off except for the dim glow above the sink, letting the stillness settle. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Martin, my father. Can we talk? I hesitated. Then I tapped call. He picked up on the first ring. Hi, Princess. I didn't answer. He cleared his throat. I just think, maybe don't push things further, okay? It's still her birthday week. That was it. Not you handled that well. Not I'm proud of you. Not even I saw what she did. Just a warning, not to upset the celebration. I let out a quiet breath. Not a sigh. Something smaller than that. I stood right in front of you all, I said, voice calm. And you still didn't see me. He was silent. Then, it's not like that. It is exactly like that, I said. It always has been. He tried again. We just want the family to stay intact. I didn't let him finish. It's never been intact, I said. It was built around Kayla like a house of cards. He didn't argue, and I wasn't angry. Not anymore. I'm not mad, I said softly. I'm just done. He paused. You don't mean that. I do. Then I hung up, and for the first time in years, I didn't wait to be called back. 2 weeks passed, no headlines, no public apology, no whispered family fallout, just silence. And the silence didn't echo anymore. It settled. I was in my kitchen that morning sorting contracts over lukewarm coffee when an email appeared. Subject, I'm sorry. From Martin Calder. I clicked it before I could change my mind. You were right. I should have stood up. I'm sorry. Dad, that was it. No explanation, no excuses. No. But you know how she is. Just one clean sentence. I read it 5 times, then I deleted it. But I smiled when I did. Somerset hadn't slowed. If anything, it had bloomed. 3 weddings in a month. 2 corporate galas. A fundraiser with media interest. Valerie fielded inquiries from planners in 4 different states. Elowen Monroe's niece reached out, she said one morning, tablet in hand. She asked for you directly. Of course she did, I said. We'll take good care of her. Later that same day, a blog notification lit up my phone. Influencer event canceled, Somerset. Denies involvement speculation, Mounts no names were mentioned. But they didn't need to be. Out of curiosity, I checked Kayla's profile. The latest video had no makeup, no music. Comments turned off. She stared into the camera for 2 full minutes before speaking. I didn't finish watching it, not because I couldn't, because I didn't need to. That evening, I walked outside with a glass of wine and left my phone face down on the kitchen counter. The porch was warm with the fading sun. The street quiet except for the rustle of live oaks and the sound of jazz drifting from a bar down the block. I didn't feel tension anymore, just breath. That morning, I'd driven past my parents' house. slowed for half a second. I didn't stop. Not out of bitterness. Because I didn't feel the pull anymore. For years I thought peace came when people finally apologized. When the scales tipped. When they saw what they did. But peace isn't loud like that. Peace is deleting the message without replying. It's walking past the person who once owned your silence. It's saying no and not explaining why. I sat down on the porch steps, the glass cool in my hand. And I thought of all the times I kept quiet. Not out of grace, out of training. I'd learned to shrink, to smooth over, to fill in the silence so no one else had to feel discomfort. I thought that was love. I thought that was loyalty. But shrinking never saved anyone. You can love your family and still draw a line. You can walk away without hating them. And you can stop asking people to value what they've made a habit of dismissing. I didn't win because I was louder. I won because I finally listened to myself. The porch light flickered on above me. A soft glow. No fanfare. And I let it stay like that. Just breathing. Have you ever felt invisible in your own story? Have you ever carried guilt that was never yours to begin with? Tell me in the comments, not for them to hear, just so you know you're not alone.